All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're going to build a bridge between ancient Stoic philosophy and modern peer-reviewed psychological science. Why? To fundamentally change how you handle reality's curveballs. Seriously, if you have ever felt utterly exhausted by fighting against the things in life you literally cannot change, you are in the exact right place.
So, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The problem with expectations. 2. Amor Fati, loving fate. 3. The science of emotion. 4. Reappraisal versus suppression. 5. The hidden toll of suppression. And finally, 6. Going along for the ride.
Number 1. The problem with expectations.
Psychologist Albert Ellis actually coined this hilarious yet perfectly accurate term for this human habit. He called it masturbation. It completely captures that faulty and frankly damaging belief that things absolutely must be the way we want them to be. We're constantly told that our willpower and hard work can change our circumstances, right? So we naturally just come to expect that the world will always respond in kind. But when it doesn't, when people are completely rude, when the weather ruins your plans, or a massive life event derails everything, we object. We fight it tooth and nail. We expend an incredible amount of vital energy resisting reality. And you know what the only thing it ultimately accomplishes is? Ruining our day. It completely prevents us from working with what actually is.
Number 2. Amor Fati, loving fate. So the crucial point here is that Amor Fati, which translates to a love of fate, isn't just about passively, miserably tolerating a bad situation. Not at all. It's an active, powerful acceptance of reality. And why? Because, well, frankly, that's your only real option. You don't have to inherently love the bad news to work with it. But to use a difficult situation to your advantage, you first have to see it clearly and accept it unconditionally. You literally have to stop wishing for a different reality. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus completely hit the nail on the head here. The Stoics called this the art of acquiescence. It's this powerful reminder that true resilience doesn't come from forcing the whole world to bend to your will, but rather from aligning your will with the world. You work with what actually is rather than just exhausting yourself wishing for what isn't.
Number 3. The science of emotion.
But hey, we aren't just going to take the Stoics' word for it today. Let's look at the modern clinical psychology that backs up this 2,000-year-old philosophy. This brings us to a landmark study by psychologists James Gross and Oliver John. Their process model of emotion regulation basically maps out exactly how our emotional responses unfold over time. Notice how an emotion kicks off with a situation, moves to our attention and our meaning-making, and then results in an emotional response. Like your heart racing or a frown forming. The huge takeaway here is that we have two main windows where we can actually intervene. Early on, before the emotion fully hits, which they call an antecedent-focused strategy, or late in the game after the emotion is already raging, which is a response-focused strategy.
Number 4. Reappraisal versus suppression. Let's break down that early strategy first, cognitive reappraisal. This happens right at the start of the emotional process. It involves fundamentally changing how you construe a situation to alter its emotional impact. So, for example, viewing a really tough job interview as a chance to practice rather than a do-or-die test of your ultimate self-worth. It is quite literally the modern scientific term for the Stoic practice of Amor Fati. You're actively changing your framing. Now, on the flip side, we have expressive suppression. This happens super late in the process. You're already feeling the negative emotion, but you inhibit your outward behavior. You're just slapping a poker face on a terrible hand. You're hiding what you are feeling from everyone around you.
Number 5. The hidden toll of suppression.
Society constantly feeds us this idea that strong people just hide their feelings and push through. But man, this psychological data on people who chronically use suppression is absolutely staggering. Hiding your emotions doesn't make them magically go away. The study found that suppressors experience just as much, if not more, negative emotion inside, and even worse, it inadvertently decreases their expression of positive emotions. But look at that third point. It creates a profound, deeply distressing sense of inauthenticity. When you're constantly hiding your true feelings, you just feel like a fraud. It also eats up massive amounts of cognitive resources. The sheer effort required to constantly monitor and hide your emotions literally impairs your memory for social information during conversations. And because of all this, suppressors tend to ruminate way more and actively avoid close relationships. When you distill the hard facts, the long-term reality of these two very different strategies becomes crystal clear. Those who use cognitive reappraisal, the Amor Fati approach of changing their perspective early, experience higher overall well-being, much deeper emotional social support, a greater sense of environmental mastery, and way better mood repair. On the other hand, chronic suppressors face higher depressive symptoms, lower self-esteem, and really isolated lives where they share neither their positive nor negative emotions with anyone. They are literally suffering in silence.
Tying this incredible science back to our daily lives, author Cheryl Strayed puts it perfectly bluntly. When terrible things happen, when reality just bites, you cannot simply suppress it away. You can't just push it down and hope it disappears into thin air. As the science clearly shows, that just makes it linger and toxifies your relationships. It is just there, and you have to survive it. You absolutely must endure it, understand it, reframe it, and let that reappraisal help you move on and actually become better for it.
Number 6. Going along for the ride? The ancient Stoics had this really vivid metaphor. They envisioned human beings as a dog tied to a moving cart, with the cart being the universal guiding force of the universe, or basically reality. Now, as the dog, you essentially have two options. Option 1 is the path of suppression and expectation. You can struggle with the completely foolish notion of control, dig your hind legs in, challenge every single step, and ultimately get forcibly dragged along bleeding and totally exhausted. Or option 2 is the path of cognitive reappraisal and Amor Fati. You can just accept reality, run alongside the cart, go along for the ride, and take your freedoms and joys exactly where they come.
So, I'm leaving you with this final, provocative thought for today's explainer. When reality inevitably hands you something you didn't expect or frankly didn't want, which emotional regulation strategy are you going to choose? Are you going to try to suppress it, fight it, and get dragged? Or will you reframe it, embrace it, and run with the cart? Both the modern science and the ancient Stoics agree on this one. The choice is absolutely yours, but only one path actually leads to a good life.